Hey everybody, it's Lori, and I am here to share with you my latest project. I've got a couple of journals that I finished up here, and I'm gonna do a flip through on them, and there's actually quite a bit of stuff in both of them, and I don't want to take the time to tell each and every little thing, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the comments, but if I point out every little thing that I put in here, we'll be here till next week. So basically what I wanted to do with these journals that I made is I just kind of wanted to play around with some of the stuff that I had. So I dug into a lot of my trims and my different fabrics and embroidery pieces and some crocheted pieces and just all kinds of stuff. And I just went to town. um, there Let's see, I guess I wouldn't really call these mixed media journals, but there is a little bit of a lot of different techniques in here. So let me just get started here and just stop yakking and get going. So for the front and the back covers, I just used some chipboard. And I wanted to actually, I started off, let me kind of start from the beginning here. I started off, it was just going to be one journal, and I was going to use my cinch to bind it. Well, that didn't work out because every time I make a journal, it just keeps getting fatter and fatter and fatter. So then I decided that I was going to use binding rings to bind it. Well, then I had to go to larger size binding rings. Well, then I ended up making it actually two journals because it got way too fat. And then what I didn't like with the binding rings is that they kept wanting to open up inside and the pages kept falling out and it was driving me crazy. So finally, I found a tutorial on YouTube, which I will put the link for in the description. And she showed how to make your own binding rings with jewelry wire and some beads. So basically, I have two strands of, I think it's 20 gauge jewelry wire, and I wrapped it around, let me show you here. I wrapped it around this thing here, this jar here, to give it the round shape. And then I took a bead and I inserted two ends this way and the other two ends this way, and then you just twist up the wire to hold it in place. So I don't have to worry anymore about the rings opening up and separating, and because I was constantly adjusting the rings and it was just getting kind of ridiculous. And actually I kind of like this. I just think it adds a lot more. It's because it's pretty. So, and then I put a whole bunch of different fibers and laces and stuff on the wire. And same thing on the cover. I did a little bit of sewing with my different fabrics and made some pockets and just tried to add a little bit of character with some stitches. Let's see, a little frame here that I painted, a couple of different colors, some paper flowers, an arty cake charm, and let's see, for the button, or for the closure, I just used a button and a piece of sari silk here that is attached through some eyelets in the back. And I've just got some lace trim down on the back too that I used, that bottle that I just showed you that I used to wrap the wire around. I used that to go over the top of this. It's a matte medium and it's a vintage. It gives it a vintage color, so it looks a little bit stained up. And then to open it, you just push it down a little bit, go around the button. I was going to put pockets in the front inside cover and in the back, but it was already so fat that I just didn't. It's already pretty chunky, so. And then I'm just going to start flipping. I did some stenciling, some glimmer misting, and also I used a whole bunch of different colors of the Tim Holtz Distress Stain Spray. I love this stuff. And so I've got some different colors of cardstock paper. An envelope here, a whole bunch of different tags and for journaling or photo mats. Just a little booklet for journaling. And I also dug into my junk jewelry pieces too, so you'll see a lot of that in there. And all of the images here, actually, I'm a big fan of the artist John William Waterhouse, and all of the images in here are his. So they're kind of a Waterhouse-inspired journals, actually both of them. I sprayed and glimmer misted the tags, some of the tags too. Another thing I like about using the jewelry wire for the rings is they seem to turn a lot easier because it's not as thick. Because I was using 2-inch rings and they were plenty big to bind it, but they still just wanted to open. They would not stay shut. I don't know if that just means it was a bad quality of rings that I was using or what this deal was. Did a little bit of stamping in here too. Piece of vellum paper. And some candy bags that I just ripped. As you can see, I ripped the top off of and I stained it up, inked it up. Another little booklet here for journaling. I used a few different pieces of metal too, and then I just painted them with some acrylic paint. And this is just a brown paper lunch sack that I stained up. And another little booklet. And a little envelope that I made. This journal actually, well, both of them were actually pretty fun. It was a lot of trial and error because I had to take things apart and redo them several times just to get it to do what I wanted it to do. But it was a good learning experience, and if I ever want to make another one like this again, I will know what not to do and what techniques I like better. Oh, on some of the pages, I used lace as a stencil. So like this one, for example, I just laid down a piece of lace and then sprayed over the top of it with some different distress stains. This is an old earring here, another piece of junk jewelry. Okay, and then the back. And that is it for this one, and I will be back with part 2 with the second one. Catch you in a bit.